the end of 38, and then I just got really scared. What?
We hit 60 subscribers.
Oh my god. Hey guys, welcome back to another discussion video with Morgan and Sam, and hello, and we are going to be discussing our last discussion video with Ruler Master of the Mast, and I did not say Raiding Office, or Missing Nine, or Goblin, so you should be proud of me. And it's a little bit late right now. It's like 11 o'clock, so me and Sam are a little loopy, but we're going to be discussing episode 39 and 40. And before we start this, dude, look how big my folder is. These are all papers for discussions. These are how much discussion we've done, and it's crazy. We're at the end and it's crazy, but we're gonna be discussing episode 38 and 40 because I'm a little crazy.
39 and 40. Morgan can't do math.
40. Also, if I'm looking down, it's because my notes are down here. Also, me and Sam are doing this with video, so if you guys have noticed in the past we've done audio, we're just skipping to video for today. If you guys do like our videos, just video files, please let us know, or else we might switch back to audio. It just depends on what we feel like doing. But anyways, I'm gonna start us off in episode 30, the end of 38, and then I just got really scared. What?
We hit 60 subscribers.
Oh my god. I thought you were gonna get murdered. I got really scared. I've been watching so many crime shows, and I was like, someone's gonna murder you! I just touched my mic, I'm sorry. I just got really scared. Okay, yes, I'm happy, but I just got scared for your life. I did! I thought you were gonna get murdered. Are you okay?
60 subscribers, what is this? Oh, I'm so happy.
You guys are robots, you're not real.
This is our legitimate, this is my legitimate reaction every time we get a new subscriber. So, that weird monkey seal,
Happy! Yeah, we've been texting each other all day and been like, we hit this many subscribers! Thank you, our 60th subscriber!
That's so cool! And we got it on camera, so that's fun.
You got
me acting like an idiot.
You got me scared because I thought something bad was happening to you, but I was like, are you okay? But anyways.
Okay, let's get out of the discussion video. Episode 39.
Okay, so hold on. Let me just quick recap the end of episode 38. So the end of episode 38, Hagun's father has agreed to give a recipe to King's son to help cure people from the poppy seed poison, and he does ask for one request, which we don't hear about. And then also on top of that, Daemok's riling up the water people to start a rebellion. Merrily, don't eat my Twizzlers! And that's the end of episode 38. Sorry, my dog's right there. And Sam's gonna start off on episode 39. You go, Sam.
What happened in episode 38? Oh yeah, so Hagun's father has come to the prince or the king and said that, I will give you the antidote on one condition, and the king basically says, any condition you want, basically gonna give you what you want. So we finally have the antidote, and we are bringing it to Wubo and the rest of the motley crew who's building up the antidotes, everything, and they are able to create it to help save everyone. And obviously it works. They put it in the little water thing, water clears up, we have the antidote. Finally, it took us forever and a day, but we have it. And ironically, King's son had nothing to do with it. It was side characters that pushed the story along a little bit. So
also, of course, what we said before, Joe, they're trying to get the water people riled up, and Juseyo actually goes to the water people and he's like, if Daemok's arrested, then you'll lose your job. And they're like, no, we can't have that happen. And I like the fact that when King's son hears about this, he even agrees. He's like, well, that is true. If he is arrested, they're obviously going to lose their job. So I like the fact that even as a king, he does realize that this is true. So Daemok tells one of his people that the king's people will come to him once their people will come to him once they start getting sick, and that the water people will come and they'll rebel and burn down the palace, and the king will die. And it sounds like Daemok is risking just a little bit too much on village people, villagers, when you I don't know, I would have been more in the action.
At this point, Daemok has nothing. His poppy fields are gone. his way of controlling people is gone, and so now he's kind of has to rely on like the peons that he's created and the network that he's created because like these people are people who have relied on him
Mm.
for money and jobs and everything. So now he's hoping that he has enough loyalty behind them to have them attack the palace. But
Mm.
at the same time, King's son ends up finding out what is being said, and he goes, if like promise them jobs, promise them that when the water bureau people, when the Yangsu Chungs come down,
Mm-hmm.
that it's not going to be the end of the world. You're going to have a livelihood. Like I'm not going to leave you in the dust.
Yeah, he even offers them jobs to repair the palace. So it's not like he's just taking all their jobs and it's like, screw you. He's like, I'm taking away this job, but I will offer you another job to do, which
Mm-hmm.
is good. But so people, they, of course, like Sam said, they finally create the antidote. And the problem is, no one wants to take it because they all think that the fact that it comes from Damok's son, that is not reliable. So they're like, we don't want to take it. And I'm like, what? Are you
Right?
stupid idiots? And of course, like they're like, well, we need someone to prove that it's not, that it's not like that. And you know, officials have gathered outside the palace. Even the officials, like not the punks who just like their officials who are forced to take a pill, won't take it. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
but
dude, no one
then
liked Dave Monk's son. No one likes him.
Gotten for like maybe the
Stupid
fourth time.
idiot.
Gotten finally for like the fourth time in this drama has like taken like an active role in this, and she goes, you know what? If you don't believe it, let me show you like what it does. And she like
Takes
shows
two.
them that she has two of the deadly flower seeds or whatever, and she takes it and basically she explains that like the reason why she took so many was because it would like react faster or something like that, get in the blood. I don't know, but basically she'd be poisoned faster if she takes more, which it three took down someone who was immune to poison, two should have killed her. um but that's just that. And
Actually, can I just say that I hated that scene because I'm like, Guyan, stop being like. I feel like that scene was just, I don't know. I just didn't like that scene because I was like, I feel like there's another way to kind of figure out how to tell people that it worked rather than just risking your own life. I think it was
mhm,
just put there for a more dramatic sense, but for me, it was kind of
right,
like,
and then she takes the other one, the antidote, and she ends up like collapsing
mm,
essentially.
yeah,
um and before all this too, I mean, King's son ends up telling the people who are essentially going to die that it's okay to go see Daymok. That go ahead, I'm not going to keep you here. Like, and I liked his reason behind it too. He's like, just because I don't like what they're doing doesn't mean that they all deserve to die. If they can get the antidote from Daymok,
mm,
even if they don't want it from me, at least some of them will survive. So like,
yeah,
I
even
kind it was just kind of a chaotic scene. But Gon ends up passing out, and
yeah.
King's son ends up going and trying to help her, and the rest of them kind of just run away
Yeah,
and
and
try to get to Daymok as fast as they can.
yeah, so when they go to Daymok, I was very confused, like, because you know Daymok, he he basically tells like, because first off they come and I'm like thinking like, Daymok, you don't even have enough pills for them. First off, um, and he tells that the first one to get to their knees and beg for forgiveness that he will give the pills to,
Hmm.
and which I'm like, that's kind of really, I mean, it's dirty. It's like, it's basically what Date Milk would do. It's so dirty. He's like, I'm not gonna give it to you for free. You have to come here and you have to grovel and you have to beg for it. Then I'll
Right.
decide whether or not you're worthy or not to have it.
But then he notices that none of
The
them have spots on their faces.
Yeah, and then we get a flashback that Guyan actually lived and proving the people that the pill actually worked. Da da da.
Dun, dun.
Yeah. So the prince comes and Daemok basically tells him that the Pungsu, like, they basically come to arrest him, and he basically tells like the Pungsu group will not be swayed by by him, that they have deep roots, and that they are not going to be swayed by a prince. And he goes, well, you know, I may not. I'm not a breeze. I'm a typhoon. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not just here as one person. We're here all together. And he basically tells them that he'd like to take the group without blood, And he tells Daemok that if they throw down their swords and ask for forgiveness, he will forgive them. But if they will not, he will have no mercy towards them. And he gives them an hour or a half an hour, an hour or a half an hour,
Hour. He
hour
gave them an hour.
to make a choice. So then we also learn, Daemok also learns that the water suppliers have stopped the revolution, like we said, because the prince had offered them jobs. Um, and and then when that happens, they give him like the ring bell that 30 minutes are up, and of course everyone leaves except Daemok, a few swordsmen, and Joe Teho, because
Mm.
they're like, okay, we obviously know we're losing, let's run, and so they basically um, kind of betray Daemok in a way.
Yeah,
Um,
but like at that point, they all know the game's over. Like
yeah,
at
yeah,
that point, like the only smart move is to move to the other side, even if that means like jailing, because at least all of them know they're probably going to live.
yeah.
Even if they live in jail, it's to them it's probably better than like being beheaded or just
Mm-hmm.
dying altogether.
Yeah, and then the hour runs out, and so they all go inside to arrest Daemok and Joe Tae-ho, or just Daemok, and they are stopped by Joe Tae-ho and some
Yeah.
ninjas, and
He
are
like
like,
screams, "I am Choi Tae-ho." I'm like, "This is Sparta."
what? Yes. So they go like he's like, you know what? Daemon has done so much for me, so I'm gonna fight for him for the death. And of course, he dies by Chung Su's hand. And then like the prince screams like as inside the prince is like stop, and all the ninja
Put
people are
away
like
your swords. I'm like, is that how fighting ends?
yeah, like the ninjas were like okay yeah he's dead, we're fine, we're just gonna give up. Like I was like you don't give up when your leader dies, you
You
fight
keep
like
fighting.
yeah
But
like
he's just like, put your swords away. And they're
and I'm
like,
like, okay.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Like, maybe it's because I'm really competitive and, like, I would not give up. But I don't know. I was just like, that was really quick of them to just be like, yeah, we're done.
It just quick no. I've played games with Morgan. She is overly competitive. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oh my God. I don't even know. We're planning to do something and when you guys see
Yes.
how competitive she is,
I'm so competitive. But,
it's scary.
my hair's a mess. But,
That's okay.
uh, finally, Prince's son is face to face with Daemok. And do you want to talk about that scene? Because that
Okay,
was very
so I
traumatic.
want to say number one, did you notice his eyes right away?
Hmm.
Yeah, his eyes looked creepy to me. And so King's son ends up going in and starts talking to Daemok about basically you've lost,
Hmm.
but I'm not going to kill you because
Hmm.
I've made a promise, and that he doesn't want to be a king that creates a monster that like the previous kings have created a monster in him. And he basically like goes on this like righteous path of I'm not I'm apologizing for
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
that's happened. He's not like giving him an excuse, but he's apologizing for the world that was created around him that created Daemok.
Yes.
And Daemok essentially at the end says, "I wish I was alive when with you as a ruler or under a different ruler."
Yeah.
And and then we end up noticing the pot that's sitting next to him, and he starts spitting up blood. So even though, and we end up getting the flashback too of um, Hwagun's father and King's son talking,
Hmm.
and the promise that King's son ended up making was that he wasn't going to kill Daemok. Well, that was the promise. Like, I need to arrest him, I need to bring him in, but I will not kill him. And
Yeah.
ultimately, he kept that promise, even
He
though
did.
Daemok ended up dying. He killed himself. Daemok committed suicide,
Hmm.
realizing that he was dead either, well, in his eyes, dead either way. But I think it was kind of like unearthly the shot they had of him after he had died under with the sun coming in underneath the kind of the emblem they have right there
Yeah.
in his chair.
Hmm.
And like that kind of gave me a little bit of goosebumps because
It
I was
did.
like, oh
It
my God.
did for me too. Also, I just want to add that when Daemon basically asks him what would he do if his people were suffering, would he teach them morals or would he tell them to not give up and just offer some like stupid
Yeah.
like you can do it,
Right, but I
But
like the answer he gave.
yeah, because he gave an answer like, no, I wouldn't do that. I would jump in that despair with them, and I would give them a shoulder to lean on. And that's what he wanted. That's a really good answer. I love that writing in that scene.
Yeah.
They did a really good job writing that scene.
He's like, I would get into the hole and have them climb on my shoulders to get them out.
Yes.
It's not like I would just leave them there to despair and be poor and without anything. And you know what? The only thing I kind of want and not want at the same time is like I would love to see the Joseon he would have created, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're ever gonna get to see the actual. I think it's just all gonna be an open-ended story
Yeah.
of this is like the happily ever after we're going
Yeah.
into.
I also like how Daemon, before he died, he said, water has to flow from top to bottom in this world. I tried to spurt backwards. Although I fell back down in the end, I did not regret I went against the world. Which is kind of like, you know what? I did what I needed to do. I don't regret the mistakes I made because I believed in what I believed in.
Right.
Um,
And I think what comes with Daemok and a lot of really well written villains is that the villain thinks what they're doing is right. They never
mhm,
think what they're doing is wrong. And it's not that like morally it's not wrong. It's that they felt like they had a purpose to serve in this world
mhm.
and this was how they were serving their purpose, whether through good or bad means. And so he probably did live with no regrets. I think the only regret he probably has is killing his granddaughter.
Yeah. And then
That's the only regret I think he has.
yeah, I think so too. And then later on, when he was going, like he went back to the palace and he saw Guyan and he hugged her. I laughed so hard because it's so hard because like you went from a serious scene to this scene. It was so hard when he hugged her and everyone
And
turned
everybody
around.
just turned around.
I was like, oh god. And then I like how Muhan had to like slap Gon because Gon didn't even know what to do because he's not familiar with that kind of stuff. So Muhan was like, dude, you gotta turn around. He's like, I gotta turn around. Okay. And I love the fact that like Boo Boo and the other guy, like Raul Kook, I don't know how to say his name, we're like kind of like, oh, we're turning around, but let's look a little bit. Let's just
It's like when you're watching a scary movie, but you're like this.
yes. Um, and then they, uh, like also, I'm just glad with Muhan gone, we finally got a little romance right there. Like, I got a little hit of romance. But then they go to see Lee Sen to give him the pill, and I'm just like, did you forget about him or something? Because, like,
I know he's like the last one to get the pill.
like, he's like, you're like, oh shit, Waz, we forgot someone. Oh, God, we forgot Peasant Son. And that's the end of episode 49. And so on to the last part of this episode. Episode 40. Oh my goodness.
We survived the whole drama. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna cry right now. Oh god. Okay, so episode 40. So of course Pez's son hesitates to take the pill at first, but after hearing that guy made it, he's like, of course I'll take it. And then he falls to the ground, gasping for air, and I'm like, Prince Son, don't tell me you're a Slytherin after all. But of course he's a Hufflepuff, and he is healed of all his spots, and he is alive. But he tells Peasant Son that that he's sorry for everything he happens. But Peasant Son laughs, and since he's like, don't try. I'm not gonna ask you for forgiveness. Don't ask me for forgiveness because I'm the one who tried taking your crown. And like he tells Prince Son basically tells him to live a life, and that no matter what in the future, no matter what they remain in the future, that he will always be his friend, and that he hopes one day that they can understand like each other. And he goes like Peasant Son goes to Guy and says like, well, can't we turn back the clock? Can't we be like how it was before? And he tells Guy, I'm like, well, a rose, you can't put petals back on the rose. You can't fit a spilt bucket of milk. Like we can't go back to basically they're saying we can't go back to
Yeah,
where it
he's basically
was.
talking like metaphors of like you can't we too much has happened, we can't go back.
Yeah, and then when he like left them, and Prince Sun was like, "Don't worry, one day he'll be back for us. Like one day he'll come back to us." And I'm just like, romance, yes. So I got a
I
little
was
teary.
expecting a time jump at that point.
Yeah, we didn't really get a time jump. Oh, well,
We
we got
did it toward the end of this episode. We
and
got a year. Yeah.
yeah. So so of course the officials are upset that the prince or that King's son let Peasant Son go, but King's son's basically like, why? Because I'm the reason why you know, he was in that situation, so I'm gonna let him go. And also the official brings up that Guyan. And do you want to talk why the whole
Yeah.
Guyan thing?
Yeah, so I'm going to assume, because we never really get confirmation, that King Sun had announced that Gan was going to be his queen,
Hmm.
or that like he had intentions to marry her. But they start saying like you can't marry the one who was um, chosen for the previous king. Like that doesn't make any sense, and that the people will revolt. And while they're talking about this, and even though you can kind of tell that King Sun is like wanting to freak out on them, but at the same time he's kind of seeing the reason that they're like the reasoning behind it.
Hmm.
But Gan ends up hearing all of this, and once again writes a letter saying, "You're better off without me. I'm like gonna leave and go live my life somewhere else." I'm like, didn't we already go through this? And can we like not go through it again? But obviously, it breaks his heart that she's left him once again.
Yeah. Stupid. Um, and Peasant's son, while he's walking away, he thinks about how the fact that, you know, the king's son didn't give him a dud, that he gave him a real one, but then again, why would he give him a dud before? And so he starts to place together that his bodyguard might not be on his side. So he even goes to talk to the man that, was his father, and the man basically confirms that he doesn't even have a son. And Peasant Son's like, oh my god, like, what did I do? So he runs off to go tell someone, someone that, because he thinks Prince Sun's life is in danger.
Hmm.
But Guyan goes, so
Yeah, Gan
Guyan,
goes to the
yeah,
town.
yeah, so Guyan, yeah, so she basically, when the prince gets that letter afterwards, he goes to court and he basically tells them, like, well, I'm an unfit, you think I'm an unfit ruler? Am I an unfit ruler? And that, I saved many of your lives in front of you, but, that was only due to Guyan. That was only due to her. So
Hmm.
why should they ignore her now? But the officials believe that Prince Sun must focus on his duties, but he decides, you know what, why don't I just give up the throne and give it to someone better, who you think is better? Which of course
Yeah,
is kind of like, why are you doubting me? Like, she's the
yeah,
one who saved you guys all. Um, and so, do you want to talk about whole like how Prince Sun goes to Guyan?
yeah. So I mean, well, I also like to a part of that scene was that he took the. They don't really have crowns, but like they have different funky hats going on. So he takes his hat off and he sets it down, and he's like, "If you think you can find a better king, find a better king." And so he ends up going to Gan, and we end up getting like this really nice like kind of scene of all the village people being able to like get the water again, which that was
Mm-hmm.
really nice. I enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, me
Like the
too.
water is open again, and Gan's kind of having like this open monologue to herself, like saying that she wishes that he could see what he's done for his people and how happy they could be. And she starts like questioning if her decision was right, or like if he'll be happier without her. And he essentially is like, no, I like he ends up being behind her, just shockingly enough, K-drama logic. Actually, film logic, period. But
Mm-hmm.
he's like, my life would be is better with you in it, and not with you out it,
Ah.
and that like, no matter what happens, like I want you by my side. I'm going to love you forever. Blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. Like super cheesy, cutesy. Oh my gosh, this is adorable. I wish you were saying it to Hagun. Honestly, kind of love scene. And he hands her a new necklace with like it's almost like the moon and the sun are connected in this one because the original one, the moon and the sun are separated.
Mm-hmm.
But he gives it and is like the now the sun and the moon are like in the same sky is kind of what I read. Um, and what's really nice too is like the people see that he's up there with her and they're like, "Long live the king!" and blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. And it was just a really nice scene
It was because if you
altogether.
think about it, at the beginning of the show, they were making fun of him. Like they had the whole puppet show where they were making fun of him,
Mm,
which I thought was pretty funny, or not funny, but which it was nice because in the beginning they were making fun of him, but now they're being like, thank you for all the things you've done." So it shows how far he has grown as a character.
right.
But Peasant's son, while running through the woods, he finds Boo Boo, and he basically tells Boo Boo that his guard is working for Daymog, and he's worried that King's son's in danger. But Boo Boo lets it slip that Guyon is actually getting escorted back to the palace by the guard. So the guard, basically his bodyguard, basically stops the rest of the guards, and they basically like he's like, let Guyan out. So Guyan gets out, and then they're like, what are you doing? And he kills the guards like a ninja, and he goes to kill Guyan. But Prince or Peasant Son comes out of nowhere and is like, "No, don't you dare touch her!" And he picks up a sword. Of course, he can't fight because I'm thinking like, when did they give the king some sword fighting lessons
You would think so
before?
because we had talked about earlier about how um, Prince Sun, King Sun, has like ultimate like sword fighting skills, and oh my gosh, and now it's like the previous king has no sword fighting skills. What's going on?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that's just that, and they end up
Also,
getting into a wicked fight and everything, and
Peasant Son gets hit in the back with a sword. He was almost this close to surviving when I was like, okay, he's alive. He survived.
Sam's
And then
kill
his
list is wrong, and then I'm like, my kill list is right. Oh my
yes.
god!
Uh,
Last minute though, so last
So,
minute. I
except the
didn't,
one person that didn't die that was on your list was Boo Boo. Because you thought that Boo
and the
Boo was
queen.
in
I
the
thought
queen.
the queen was gonna die
Yeah,
too.
yeah. So he gets sliced in the back, and the guy raises up the sword again to be like, I'm gonna kill you. And the reason why he's killing Guyon, by the way, is because that's Daymonk's like kind of way that he was gonna kill him, was because like Daymonk was going like Daymonk's all about taking something you love and like taking stuff that you love. Don't take your life, but take something that you love away from
And
you.
like destroy it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's taking Guyan away from him because that's who he loves. So he goes to kill Guyan, except, of course, gone. His bodyguard, Chungsu, and the king, King Sun, comes out of nowhere to save her. And by the way, can we just talk about the fact that King Sun grabbed a hold of the sword to stop the
With
sword
his
from coming?
hand.
And I'm like, okay, that just sliced up Peasant Sun's back, and he's gonna die. But you grabbed it with your hand?
Yeah, like goodbye to the tendons in your hand. You're never using that again.
I don't understand that logic. That doesn't make any sense to me. That would never have happened. Your fingers would have been
Yeah, but there
gone.
was like some sword fighting lessons or whatever, like very, very early on where he like grabs the sword too.
I don't think that makes sense. But
It
okay.
doesn't make any sense, but I think it's like them referring back to some older episodes. But yeah, he grabs the sword and he ends up killing the then bodyguard.
Yes.
And
And
um
by the way, can I just say that I cried a little bit when he died? I knew he was gonna die, but I still cried.
I think
He,
how he died was the saddest, and
yeah,
like the flashbacks and stuff when him and Gan were over his body saying like Lisana, Lisana, and like
yeah.
they had the flashback when they were in like the little gully with the fireflies and everything.
Hmm.
I thought like it was a very sad scene,
Yeah,
and
and
it broke my heart a little bit. And I
also,
probably would have cried if I wasn't watching it at 1:30 in the morning, but I
you
was watching it at 1:30 in the
oh my
morning.
goodness, you're crazy. I watched it today. I watched it a couple days ago and then watched it again today. But also how Prince or Peasant Son was like told Guyan like, "Thank you for giving me my name. Thank you for giving me a life." And he
Hmm.
goes to Prince Son. He goes, "I'm sorry for not viewing you as a friend. You're my first. You're my last friend." And I'm like, the bromance is back, but it's too late to be back. And I'm like, oh God, no. That's my face. But. Um, so basically, he dies, and which was really sad. And later on, we get a flash, like in the future, and Prince Sun is wondering what makes a good king to his people, and and um, and that what makes a good people to the people that sacrifice their lives for him. And while
Right.
Guyon says like, I'll be by your side protecting you for the rest of my life. And then the show ends, which is why I like it. The show ends with Guyon basically getting married to Prince or King Sun, and then we have flashbacks of each of the characters, not flashbacks,
Which
but
I,
each of the
yeah,
characters come
the
in.
old character, every character who has died up to this point that has played a huge part in his role, he kind of gets to say thank you to,
Hmm.
which is really nice. Like it's first, it's Gon's father, and he goes like, "I promise I'll make her happy," and like he's like, "Well, promise me you'll be a good king," and then he looks over, and he ends up seeing Hwagun, and he goes, "I don't know how I'd ever repay you or say thank you or I'm sorry," and she's basically like, "Just be happy,"
Hmm.
and then he ends up seeing Peasant's Son one last time,
Hmm.
and he's like, "I'm sorry." Basically, "I'm sorry, my friend," and he's like, "Just be a good ruler."
Yes.
And then they kind of look at each other and then they look at everybody else. And that's kind of the end. That's the end. We made it to the end. And can we talk about too the like really nice like production scene that they had, all of them in the final scene, kind of dressed up and like taking a picture together. That was a really
Yeah, that's
nice
really
thing to
cute.
see. But it's over. It's
Well,
done.
what was your okay? So, do you want me to give you my final thoughts, or do you want to give your final thoughts first?
Final thoughts. Go ahead.
Okay. I felt like the show could have done better, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
There was some huge plot holes. We know what we're talking about. The fact that, he could have taken the poppy seed pills, not get replaced by Peasant Son, or the fact that he could have taken off the mask whenever he wanted to for Prince or for Peasant Son. And I felt like it was sometimes disappointing to know that there were big plot holes and that they weren't going to get fixed. I understand that there can be some plot holes, but they were major ones that should have been fixed. And I think Hagun should have been a better main or side, not side character, second lead than Guyan, just because I felt like Hagun did a lot better, had more action, had more chemistry between the prince and him. And I felt like Guyan's love story, like her character is more soft spoken, not soft spoken, but more soft in a way, where Hagun's more rough around the edges, and I liked her character more. And I also said that Peasant's Son did die, but I'm actually really upset that he didn't become a kind of complex character that I wanted him to be. I felt like the way that he turned evil was a little bit too simple for me, and I wanted it to be more complex, I guess, like
Hmm.
I talked before. And if I was to give a rating to this drama, I would have to give it a 7 out of 10 because uh, I just felt like I felt like in the start I would say 9, but in 7 now because all the plot holes, all the characters that I fell in love with that didn't get enough screen time and stuff like that. And I also just want to mention that I will be making a video talking more in depth about this drama, so I don't want to give too much away. But Sam, final
Okay,
thoughts.
so final thoughts. Way too many characters running around. Way too many characters.
Mm.
Especially with a lot of new ones added right in the middle of it, with very little character development added to them. I think we should have stayed with the. I mean, I see where a lot of them played a part, but at the same time, I feel like the eunuch, he only played a small piece.
Yeah.
I wish we had kept our core characters had a lot more character development. I mean, Mi Chang was really nice to see. I wish we had more character development with Gon and the relationship between him and Hwagun. But overall, I would agree with you. I would actually say more like a 6.8 out of 10. I'm kind of hesitant to give a 7, but not really a 6. But that's just me. Overall, would I recommend this to someone? Maybe if you're bored. If you're bored and you want something to do, but not as like a drama you need to see. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Overall, last few episodes I enjoyed a little bit more, but had we not been watching it as a discussion video, probably would have stopped about halfway through,
Me too.
honestly.
Me
Um,
too.
but that's all I have for that. I mean, next one, School 2017, which starts Tuesday. It was supposed to be a Monday, Tuesday drama. It's not going to start till the 18th, so it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday drama.
Yep. And we'll be there back then for those dramas. And if you guys have any comments or any last things you want to add about this episode, what you liked, what you didn't like, if you agreed with what we didn't like and what we liked, please let us know. We love to hear your thoughts. And we'll see you guys next
Subscribe if you want
Monday.
to discuss the School 2017 too. Hit the like
Yeah,
button,
subscribe.
comment, and we will see you in our next
And
video.
also, please tell me how you feel about the fact that there was barely any romance in the show when there should have been tons. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, romance.
Bye. We
Okay,
love you all. Bye. Bye.
bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please feel free to give it a like. If you would like, you can subscribe to our channel. And if you want to check out our last week's discussion video, click somewhere on the screen because it will be somewhere up here. And we will see you guys next time. Okay, bye. Not really bye, but bye.